One thing my entire community is great at is chasing knowledge, but action is more important. Knowledge just skews the probability of success. So understanding these topics inside this video is really what's going to allow you to actually improve and actually implement the knowledge you are given, the knowledge you receive from anybody. So I hope you stick around and enjoy this video because you are going to understand a lot more after it. Thing you've probably heard many times is the idea that a risk taker is always the one who succeeds. The person who can't ever take a risk or can't ever undergo any challenges is never going to succeed because simply they're not putting themselves in a position to succeed. But there's actually one caveat to the statement. Now, the caveat is that only calculated risk takers succeed. And you may be asking, what exactly is the calculation that's going through your brain when you're taking risks? Isn't the idea of a risk the fact that it's not completely calculated and I don't completely know the outcome? And that is 100% correct. That's not the point of what I'm saying. You actually don't want to know the outcome and you want to feel that experience of riskiness. The calculation is actually what you measure it by. And what are you measuring your risk by? Most people measure their risks by success. What happens if I succeed? Best case scenario, but it's actually far better if you calculate it based off what level you are going to fail and what you are going to acquire from your failures. So, therefore, any individual on this planet who is a calculated risk taker is destined to have more knowledge. We all know that person who's younger than us who is more successful. There is always going to be a person in the world who is younger and more successful, and you know what they have done more. They have failed more and they have acquired more knowledge through that failure, and that knowledge has helped them, or that success has helped them go into a situation where they can experience more failures, and therefore they have more knowledge and they can compound their success more through more action. But you know what failure causes in the moment you fail? It causes pain. And what does pain cause? Pain causes action because the only way to escape pain is with action. Now, this right here is a great piece of knowledge to really understand and learn how to implement it, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to help you learn how to live towards your edge and what exactly it means living towards your edge. Now, the idea of living at your edge actually just means that you are living in a place of slight riskiness. You're living in a place that you don't completely understand. And because of this, you are destined to fail sometimes, but you are also destined to succeed sometimes. If you're always living at your edge, you're always going to be learning new lessons and you're always going to be forced to take action because every time you fail, it's going to be something that's pretty painful, something that hurts. And you know the one way you escape pain is going to be through taking action. So living at your edge, living at this point where you're on the verge of failure, on the verge of success, you don't really understand where you're at, that is where you are going to advance the most. Let me explain to you what this video is going to give you the ability to shoot for. Now, being masculine isn't the ability of being all macho, looking all tough, or being the modern red pill asshole. None of that. It's about being calculated and having a reason for everything. It's about reaching to achieve one thing that you will never reach. It's unachievable. And that one thing is being perspicacious. It's about having ready insight into any situation. And how do you achieve that? It's through confidence. And it's not just through the confidence you think of when you hear that word, it's through the confidence that you will come out better whether you fail or whether you succeed. You either succeed when you make a choice, which you obviously want, where you learn and you progress and you acquire a new piece of knowledge, you succeed in the future, and now suddenly you are more perspicacious. So you need to have constant confidence in everything and really understand how to grow from every situation and learn how many tiny failures you actually have that you push to the side because you don't see them as a big deal, but in reality, you have learned so many lessons or been given the opportunity to learn so many lessons that you have just passed up. Now, let's look at the opposite situation. If you don't have the confidence to actually choose the outcome, if you don't know and you're just like, well, you could choose, you could decide. There's two outcomes. Either they end up being right and you wish you learned that lesson so you could actually implement it in the future and be better off in the future, or the other option is that they are wrong and once again, you wished you followed your gut and followed your instincts because who wants to fail? So now that you are dedicated to living out your edge to a calculated extent, you need to aim and understand two things. What bothers me and what am I afraid of? And go into periods of time where I'm actually chasing after those and experiencing those things because those are what is going to grow you the most. May go through a major transformation after a breakup, but you don't have to take it to this extent. You don't have to take it to the extent of, oh, I want heartbreak in my life because that's what's going to make me succeed. Well, that idea is funny and all and not too applicable. What's better is to understand this if you are scared of heartbreak or this pain, then go in periods of time where you're not talking to your girl and let yourself overthink. Experience the overthinking. This overthinking is going to show you the sectors that are issues. What are issues in your life and what needs to be fixed? And then go to those sectors and improve them. Now, obviously, I'm not telling you to just straight up ghost your girl. You're just having periods of time where you're not talking to her or gaps where you're just not thinking of her. And how do you make up with this? You make up with this in quality time. That's what they appreciate. So simply just have higher quality time with them if this is an issue. Now, on the fear side of things, let's say you're scared of being a financial failure, then simply lean into that fear. Well, how exactly could I push the idea of being financially successful while risking being closer to financial failure? And take a calculated gamble based off of that. Invest in some stock, some amount of money that you're not comfortable actually investing and you wish you had in your pocket after you invest it and then don't touch it. Or even better yet, then invest in something that you yourself are doing, such as investing in your company or investing in coaching, whether that's gym, lifestyle, hormone coaching. Invest in something that you actually feel slightly uncomfortable making that dedication to, but that lack of comfort is what's going to pull you further towards success. Now, something I experienced personally was a failure in powerlifting. I completely bombed my last powerlifting competition. If you guys watched the video, you more than likely saw I wasn't too happy after that. I wasn't in the best headspace. And what did that do? Well, simply it just drove me to a further level of improvement because of this failure. Now I am bodybuilding, I am doing cardio every single morning, something that I've never done every morning in my life, despite when I was playing hockey, because I used to be a hockey player. And I track calories, every single calorie that goes into my body, I track and I'm simply just training my ass off inside of the gym. All things that came from this failure that quite simply I'm glad I got screwed over in that powerlifting competition. I'm glad I didn't just luck out and do amazing because it has actually driven me to put more effort into this and dedicate myself more to an idea of improvement through this subject. So we're humans. We're intelligent creatures, and because of that, we have an ability to think to quite an extent. Now, this is both our biggest strength and our biggest weakness, this ability to think. And you need to learn when you're overthinking to stop overthinking and dedicate a period of time to 100% taking that action that you were thinking about. So you'll get caught up nights and nights and nights in a row. Maybe just can't sleep because something's on your mind. Then you need to simply dedicate time to that thing. You might not know how to dedicate time to that thing, but simply set aside a period of time where you are going to do research on how to actually change that specific thing. And then maybe once you're doing research, now you have ideas, now you're going to take action. It's not possible to overthink if you're actually taking action. Overthinking is purely a sign that you are not taking action on the things that lie deep inside of your heart. Something that's quite obvious is our bodies want to stay in homeostasis. And overthinking is simply a mechanism our bodies use to remain in homeostasis. If we're overthinking, then we're not taking action, and therefore nothing's changing, and we're not in a more uncomfortable spot or taking any risk. So when you're overthinking, simply just lean into that subject more. This video, I'm sure you understand, it really is pretty simple to put yourself in this painful place or pushing yourself towards your edge if you really actually want it and want the change. But I want to leave you off with a piece of knowledge. And this piece of knowledge is to approach any situation looking at opposites. This is truly how you're going to become more perspicacious. This is how I personally have improved my perspicacity to the greatest extent through looking at opposites. If you look at anything in the universe, it's ruled by opposites. Opposites control each other and they synergize together. Whether you're religious or not, you have to admit that there's a vast amount of knowledge within the Bible. And something I could guarantee you is that you can accurately gain all of the knowledge inside of the Bible just by understanding and meditating on the subject, how exactly opposites work, and how exactly they control the universe. And if you are not acting within this flow, you are acting against your nature, and naturally the universe will resist that. So, as always, remember perspicacity is our grindstone for success. Keep on grinding, boys.